And here, is it better? Sorry for the latency. Yes. Awesome. So I said, welcome everyone to another LocSIG video. I'm Aurélie, and I will let Julia, my co-host today, introduce the guest and the topic. Have fun, and don't forget to put your question in the chat, and it will be good. So now, oh, it's okay for me, and it's
Really?
you're live.
Okay, amazing. Well, if anybody cannot hear me, please I don't know, say yes in the chat. Otherwise, okay, yes, it works. Yay! We're so happy. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We're so honored and humbled to organizing this amazing roundtable today, GameLoc Empowered. We're having a really amazing cast of members of associations around the globe today with us. And as Aurélie already introduced herself, we're presenting this. We're the IGDA Localization SIG, as you see on our YouTube channel, where you are right now, which is great. So Aurélie and me, I'm Julia, we're co-chairing the LocSIG, and we're trying to, better practices around the game localization industry around the world. And yeah, we're having a lot of background efforts going and on and offline events. And yeah, this is one of them. So we're very happy to have you join today. And I see the live chat too. So if you have any questions during the session, please just write them down in the chat. I'm going to quickly go through what we're going to do today. So because we're doing a roundtable, it means it's not quite a presentation. So we want to keep it like engaging and nice, and also have the people talk among each others. So I'm just moderating. Aurélie will be in the back, and we're going to have our amazing 5 members talk about their associations today and introduce themselves and also what they're doing in their committees. And we're looking at only very, very young committees at the moment. Like game localization has always kind of been an afterthought, as we all know. And yeah, that also kind of stretched into unions and stuff. And we've seen what unions can do. So this is a very, very important roundtable today, where we learn about efforts, about collectives, about people gathering to strengthen the community, to do, what needs to be done so that we're all empowered. So I'm going to start with our amazing cast. We're going to Beatrice Ceruti. Please introduce yourself for a quick moment, if you may.
Yeah, sure. I hope you hear me. Hi, I'm
Yes.
Beatrice Ceruti. I'm from Italy, and I'm a representative for TRAMITI, the Italian Association for Multimedia Translators.
Thank you so much. We're going right to Tamara, if you may.
Hi, I'm Tamara. I'm the representative of ATRAE, and I've been elected the vice president too. So I'm here to talk about video games too.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining. We're going to Christian Hoffmann.
Hi, I'm Christian. I'm a member of the German Association of Audiovisual Translators, the AVU, and yeah, here to talk about our little association as well.
Thank you so much. We're going to Lau.
Hi all, my name is Laura Cariola, and I'm representing AATI from Argentina, which is an association for all translators and interpreters.
Amazing, thank you so much. And we're going to our last amazing member for the session, Maxime, if you may.
Hi, I'm Maxime Place. I'm a representative for ATAA France, which is audiovisual and audiovisual author and translator association, which has a video game committee as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'm quickly going to explain. Every amazing member of our roundtable will now quickly introduce what their respective association is about. We're going to have some slides that you can screenshot or just look at if you want. And like I said, if you have questions, note them down in the chat, because after the quick presentations, we're going to dive right into like the roundtable, where we're just going to engage in some questions that we prepared. And yeah, then we're going to see what comes up. And after we're basically done with the roundtable moment of this session, we're going to have a dedicated space for the Q&A session, where you can ask members and representatives and our spokespersons directly about your concerns. I want to give a moment to our disclaimer. Please, stay productive, stay constructive, stay civil in the chat and elsewhere. And please do not use this space to ask legal questions that pertain your. You can also continue this chat basically in our IGDA Localization SIG Discord if you want to. And you can find the link to join also in our YouTube description. So yeah, if you have any more questions, note them down in the chat. We have our amazing volunteers, Lucy and Sarah, also helping us today with the chat moderation, and our amazing coordinator, Sharam, in the background. So yeah, I guess we're going to dive right into the quick presentations. We're going to keep it short and nice. And yeah, so we're going to start here with Lau, with ATI. Please, if you may.
Yes, thanks. I'm talking also in representation of all Latin America, because we are pretty sure we are the first association in Latin America to have a game localization committee. As you can see, all the information, I'm not going to read what you're seeing on screen. But ATI was founded over 40 years ago, and only last year we founded the Game Localization Committee. You can see all the members that are participating now in the committee up on the top right corner. And we just started with our activities, but it's mostly about I can only come up with a word in Spanish, like making our specialization more professional, showing the world that it's a profession and not a hobby, translating, localizing video games. And we are planning to do a whole day of webinars on July the 20th. And we are about to launch some kind of portfolio in the ATI website. Any person who translates into or from Spanish is welcome to join, regardless of the country of residence or birth. And ATI, I see as a difference from the other associations that are here today in the roundtable, concentrates all kind of specializations. It's not only audiovisual or only games. It's interpreters, it's sign language, it's technical translators, it's any kind of specialization in translation. I hope I got into the 3-minute time I have. I don't know if I have more time, or that's it.
It's all good. Thank you so much for explaining that, Lau. We also love this slide. Again, anybody in the chat, if you want to screenshot this, and yeah, we can also share the slides later if you want. So don't fret if it's too much to read for the time. But
I know. So if I have 2 more seconds, I'd like to thank everyone who is on the chat. I'm seeing I have my teammates, my commission mates in the chat. We also have the president of ATI, current president, and many people who are colleagues who also participate in the LocSIG Discord and another Discord we have for Latin American localization.
Yeah, I see many supporters of you rallying up for you. This is amazing. We love representation.
Thanks, everyone.
This is such a great roundtable, and we're very happy we're having a really diverse round today. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, if you're ready. We're gonna dive into ATRAE now, and Tam is our representative spokesperson and vice president of the association, and will tell us a little bit more.
It still sounds weird to be called vice president of something, but
It's true though.
Yeah, as Laura said, I'm not going to repeat all the information I have on this slide, but I mean, we're more than 600 members. We're more than, I think right now we're 9 committees because there's one that has been formed recently. I'm also a council member of the ABT. I'm part of we as ATRAE and me as Tamara, I'm part of ABT. And we're like 10 people in the committee, but I haven't asked for permission for the name, so I didn't put them, but they're real MVPs because they do all the hard work, and it's too much hard work that it has to be done. And we're also reporting on authors' rights, and we've launched the localization guidelines. We made two guidelines, one in English and one in Spanish, that is available for everyone to download and send and to look at. And if you have any doubts, if you have anything you want to say, I didn't put any of our I just realized I didn't put anything to contact us, but our mail is videogames@atrae.org, so it's not that complicated. It's also on our website, that it's atrae.org. So I think that will be, if you have any doubts, you can contact us there. I think that's all. I'm quite nervous.
Awesome. No, it's all good. Thank you so much. It's also no problem. Like, we're still going to talk about things, like this is just a little reminder, also a little visual representation about the logo, so it sticks better to people's heads. And I think it's great to just also see a few slides. So thank you so much for preparing this, and also thank you so much for being here. We're very excited to learn more. And yeah, awesome. So if we're ready to go to the next, we're gonna have TRAMITI here, and Bea is gonna introduce this association for us. So if you may.
Sure, thank you. So TRAMITI actually is not an association per se, but it is a section inside an association for freelancers in Italy. And we decided to go to ACTA, it is the name of the association, because it's very inclusive and very welcoming to many, to freelancers in general. And that is also very important for us because we have many people inside ACTA that are very prone to give us counseling sessions when it comes to legal stuff and also like financial issues. And that is very important because we are fighting a lot of legal issues when it comes to authors' rights in video game localization. And so TRAMITI is very young, actually. It was founded just last year, and we are around 30 members, but our numbers are growing steadily. So if you're very welcome to join our association. And our main focus, I would say, is to get in contact with the new translators. In fact, we have no requirements to join because new translators are very weak when it comes to fighting against bad conditions, bad working conditions. And so we're very open to welcome new people and band together to fight for improved working conditions. And we're also very active when it comes to collaborating to other associations. As an example, the ABT statement for AI was mostly written by members of TRAMITI, and then there was a strong collaboration with ABT to redact a final statement. And also with Italian associations, because we have many associations for translators, but video game translators were not they weren't thinking about this new, we could say, with this modern profession. So we found our place in TRAMITI. And I also want to say that TRAMITI is not only for video game translators, because it came from a group of audiovisual translators. So the reason why this is the reason why the acronym for TRAMITI stands for multimedia translators, so that we can welcome everybody working with these kind of new technologies. I think that's all. You can read the rest on the slide, and if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bear, for being here. Sorry, could you hear me now? Like, my little unmute was a little late. Anyway, thank you so much. This is so interesting to also like see how these collectives basically empowering game localization are formed these days. So yeah, it's very, very cool that we have you here and can also like dive into questions more later. So thank you for giving us a rundown of the most important points for now. We're gonna keep going with where are we going? AVU, I guess I'm going to say, but I'm also a German speaker, so we say AVU. And we have Christian Hoffmann here representing this and explaining more. So please, Christian.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for organizing this and inviting us as well. Yeah, hi, I'm Christian Hoffmann from the AVU, the German Association of Audiovisual Translators. It got founded in 2016 by some colleagues of ours in the subtitling sectors, mostly working on dubbing, subtitling, audio descriptions, and the like. And we GameLoc professionals got in contact with them first around 2020, and we're also kind of, I think, like our Italian colleagues, trying to find a spot where we fit in. And we were welcomed with open arms and have been since then slowly carving out our own niche in this association. And at our last General Assembly, my colleague Nele Katzwinkel was elected a member of the board, so we're also represented in the higher echelons, let's say. And she's hopefully in the chat, and if I say something incorrect or stupid, then she will hopefully correct me. Yeah, the AVU is also a member of the ABTE, the European Federation of Audiovisual Translators, and we're open to all professional people working in AV translations, but also students. We also find it very important to get into contact with new professionals early because, well, I think we're going to talk about some of these reasons later. Our main goals are basically establishing and safeguarding certain quality standards in audiovisual translations to raise awareness of our profession and the skills you need for it. We want to achieve fair payment that reflects those skills. And lastly, we want to support each other and show solidarity with related trades and our esteemed colleagues in other countries. Yeah, that's, I think, all of the most important parts for now. If you have any questions, the link to the website is on the slide.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christian, for giving us a rundown of what the AVU does. Since I'm also involved more into German-speaking efforts, I see a lot of your efforts, and yeah, it's amazing what you've been establishing and yeah, like carving out this little space basically for game localizers. And yeah, really, really important work you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us here. It's really cool that, yeah, we have somebody also talking about the AVU and their amazing efforts. So we're going to jump to Maxime now and ATAA. If you want to talk more about this, please, it's your
Thank you.
space.
So yeah, ATAA is the French Audiovisual Translator Association. So it was created in 2006. So it has more than 600 members currently, and so yeah, it represents every professionals from dubbing, voiceover, subtitling, video game translation, closed caption, and audio description. So it's pretty broad. Just to give you a more accurate number, I think we're about 20 in the association working in video game translation. So that's not a lot when you consider it has more than 600 members, but it's growing. It's growing. Basically, yeah. So the main focuses of the association would be better recognition for the profession and proper rates. Trying to discuss and negotiate with institutions and professional of the industry, vendors. We try to help inform and defend translators when it's needed. So I'd like to point out that the association is only for professionals. So, but we would and we will answers like emails from young translators that want to ask questions. We won't like turn them down because they're not members yet. And one of the main, I think, so we're pretty present on social media. We have a wonderful community manager that tries to be vocal, especially about video games, because video game was not represented in the board 2 years ago. Well, it was it's pretty new. And so lastly, I would say that the association tries to help translators come together by organizing real life events. So you have like the open days, I would say open days, and we also have like every year we have a translation awards for audiovisual translation. So video game is not a part of it yet, but maybe one day if we find a way to basically we still have to discuss it, but it could be a possibility. And we also have like a mentorship program for young translators to have like a more seasoned translator help them out, ask questions, etc. So yeah, it's really about meeting, trying not to be isolated, and coming together to help each other.
Thank you so much, Maxime. It's incredible to also have you here. I love that we're having, of course, so many representatives for Europe and European countries where a lot of fixed localization takes place. And yeah, it's great that you're basically building these little niche representative collectives for game localizers because, yeah, for a long time, we all didn't really have a place to go. So thank you so much. And yeah, I guess we're going to dive into the question part and the roundtable part of this amazing session. Yeah, everybody in the chat, please, I don't know if you screenshotted everything for questions, but again, if anything comes up, leave them there. We're going to see them and we're going to bring them up later or maybe even in between. Who knows, right? All right. So I guess we can kill the little PDFs. Sorry, that sounds really aggressive. We're just gonna close them. Thank you, Aurélie, for doing all the hard OBS work and streaming work.
Just end them.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Well, it's just the beginning, so. All right. I guess let's just chat about, we talked a little bit about what prompted the creation of your associations, collectives, committees. And what I'm also really interested in is, where exactly saw you a point for yourself to join? Like, how did it even happen that you started to be interested in joining or finding a niche or even creating something for yourself? And yeah, we're gonna talk about basically the basics. And if you know more about how your respective associations came to be, it would be very interesting, I think, for us and also to chat to learn more about how associations are even formed, because this is where a lot of efforts are just fizzling out, sadly. So who wants to speak first, or should I just address somebody eager to talk? All right.
So,
Yes?
what? I'm going to speak for ATAA, yeah.
Yes,
So
awesome.
I
Thank you.
don't remember the whole story, but I think it was created in 2006 in response of the rates dropping and the fact that a lot of rates they didn't have any raise for a long time. So life wasn't getting cheaper. So you needed people to actively fight to get better rates, to have better working conditions. And you also had like the fact that everything was more and more digital. And so it changed the way clients maybe like how you numbered the how you invoiced what you worked on. And so yeah, so it was pretty much created like this. And it has evolved ever since. It had more and more impact. It works closely with the French syndicate of authors, who actually has like attorney that can help you out. So they're pretty close association and syndicate. And what brought me to this association is that they actually go to university to speak with young like to be translators, and try to raise awareness about what's the reality of the job. They also answer questions, give them as much tips as possible. I actually do that as well. Like I like to go in university and meet young translators. It's a really nice experience. And so yeah, so they went to my university, and I met them later at Open Doors. And yeah, I thought like it was also a way not to be too isolated and to have like more experienced people maybe giving you advice, and I guess you feel less alone with 600 people on the, because we also have like, you know, a Discord server where everyone can chat and share tips. So yeah, I think it's just if you it gives you like a community, a sense of community, and as soon as you have a problem, be it with a client, with taxes, with the way you don't know exactly how to invoice, etc., you actually have people to turn to that are really happy to help you out. So yeah, it's comforting, I'd say.
Interesting. So, like, basically, it was built around the idea of mentorship and community and, like, really practical help because there was a lack of that.
And it was also, I think, at the beginning, very about, it was a lot about like fighting and going to clients, negotiating for the whole group. It's a lot of actually negotiating and demanding some rates, raises, conditions. Like when clients ask you to actually come to their offices for proofreading and stuff, to be paid for that kind of work. So it's a lot of, yeah, it's a bit syndicate
Right.
work, but union work.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Thank you so much for explaining that too. Like, did anybody relate to that with their own story, maybe, or the creation of their own association?
Yeah, I mean, I think every creation of any association has the same base, just to that sense of community and the to fight for everyone's rights, because we're not only fighting for our members' rights, we are fighting for everyone's rights, and that is hard work, like I said. And for example, in my case, as I didn't study translation, I studied English studies. I just did a master's degree in translation. I didn't know about ATRAE, that they also go to universities and congresses and everything, and just have a round table of the Association of Spain, because ATRAE it's audiovisual translators. And I knew people from it, and I saw all the literary translators and the audiovisual translators had rights and had royalties and had like everything and could talk about their works, and I was like, why I can't with video games? And it was like I was talking to someone and they were like, be careful with the NDA, be blah blah blah, and this and that, and I said, this cannot be right. Why is video games treated differently? So it's not entered, but I don't remember the word in English. I associated with ATRAE, and there was a video game something under the rights committee, but it wasn't very much active. So when the elections came, I just postulated myself to be the spokesperson and to be on the board of ATRAE, and that's how it came to be. I mean, it was all because it wasn't right. It's like, why can't I talk about my work,
Yeah.
and the rest can't? It's like, it's nonsense. For me, it was nonsense. I mean, there has to be something here that it's not right.
So there was also a lot of frustration, right?
Yeah, there's really this sense of injustice with video game, because as someone that does subtitling and dubbing, I really see the difference in treatment between both medium, and that's really, it sounds unfair, right?
We also see a lot of differences basically in these injustices if you look at like different countries. And that's why we're also having so many representatives here from different associations, because I think everybody can tell their own story. Like, it's not always the same. We're all dealing with different laws and, dealing with different levels of even, I don't know, a sense of community or like connection to other translators or like isolation. And yeah, all of these things are really important. So what about like the creation of TRAMITI, for example? Do you want to talk about that, Bea, and how you joined?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned before, TRAMITI was founded like last year. And at first, like the people who founded TRAMITI are audiovisual translators, and they were discussing with language service provider, because this client decided to lower the rates and also worsen the working conditions of the Italian translation pool. So at the time, all the Italian translators decided to come together and suggest a different approach to the client. And that's when they understood the importance of being together and fight together to improve their working conditions. And they then went around, we could say, Italy to see how if other associations were open to audiovisual translators, because we have many Italian associations for translators, but they're a bit, we could say, old, because they are more they revolve around like the publishing sector, technical translations, and sometimes the audiovisual and video game translation is not well understood right now by some people that have more experience in other fields but don't know about these fields. So at the time, in the end, they found ACTA, which is a freelancer association. So as I said before, it's more inclusive, and they decided to create a section, because inside ACTA you can create sections for specific categories, and we also have a publishing section, like one for novels and people working with publishers. And then this is very interesting, because almost at the same time, like just before they founded TRAMITI, I was looking around with other colleagues in the video game translation only, looking for an association, because I was quite involved with the LocSIG and also with all the translators in the credits movement. And I was getting quite frustrated with the situation in Italy, because we didn't have a place we could belong as video game translators. And so it was quite like destiny, because TRAMITI was founded just like 1 year ago. At the same time, we were looking for a place for video game translators. And as TRAMITI is for multimedia translators, they were very happy to welcome us. And also some people there were already video game translators, like they were audiovisual and video game translators, as many of us. And yeah, so we went to them, we chat, and then we understood it was like meant to be. And now we're working side by side just to improve our conditions. And also it's very important, because many struggles like people working with subtitle are the same struggles we have as video game translators, so we can really help each other. And yeah, so that's how it went.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you needed a place to go. Like, it's funny that you're saying destiny, but clearly there's been stuff around the background that then came together. Thank you so much. Like, I saw Christian like nodding a lot and also raising the hand. So please.
Oh, that was just by accident, but I'll gladly take over here. I was nodding a lot because yeah, that's similar to my own experience. So the AVU has been around for a while, and before it was an actual association. It was a subtitling forum. So it's the same kind of idea of people getting together and supporting each other. And for me, I also didn't study translation. I came from a very, very different background. And I think at the beginning, I heard a lot of things from clients about what is normal in the industry and assumed that it's just that. And it turns out that it's not. And I only learned that when I got into contact with more of my colleagues. And I really, really enjoyed that. And then I think collectively we tried to think at some point about, because we are all freelancers, that's just how it works in our industry, unfortunately. What kind of banner we could like, I don't know, get to that can represent us. And so we also started looking around for associations that are similar to ours, and that's how we found the AVU. And again, there, the first time I went there, I learned things that I did not know before. That, for example, their CMOs taking care of royalties for audiovisual translation when it comes to movies and series on TV. Now, I would love to have something like that in in game translation as well. And I mean, maybe we'll manage to have
We'd
that.
all love
point.
that. Yeah, I hope so.
It's a great idea, right? The more
Yeah.
you interact with associations and with also people in let's say industries that are adjacent to your own, the more you see how many things that you thought were normal are not normal at all. And it's this kind of cross-pollination that is this I feel is very, very helpful, and that's why I'm trying to be involved in this as well. Yeah.
Right. It's so interesting that it formed, like, I don't know, the idea formed in the forum. Like, that's just hilarious to me, but also like shows how important it is that, you know, to just connect with others who are facing the same problems, and then you can go out in the world and like look for how to change something. So that's really, really cool. I saw Lau also like nodding now and like relating a lot, because yeah, I think of course we share a lot of the same.
I was it's an idea I had as early as when everyone else was reading their own slides, which is, and I was just, you know, it was evolving in my mind. But first, I'd like to answer your question, and then I'd like to make a comment on that, if I may.
Of course, please go ahead.
ATI was founded in 82, like my slide said, and it was founded mostly as a, sorry about the dog, I tried to shut her up, but she wouldn't. It was created as an not opposing stance, but an alternate stance to sworn translators. Here, at least in Argentina, you have in order to perform sworn translator duties, you need to be registered in one of these colegios. They're called here. You have to be, you have to have a registration number, etc. And these places would not include translators that were not sworn, like literary translators and interpreters who are not sworn, etc. So ATI was founded to protect the interests and fight for these other type of translators, let's say. And this was also, it's funny because it was created around the time that the course of studies for translators that are not sworn, like literary and technical translators, were created. So it was a need that came up right next to the course of professional course of studies. Regarding myself, I graduated in 2010 and was not translating. I was doing testing at Accenture, like functional testing, something totally different. But I wanted to start translating because I really loved the activity. So I went to my former teachers and I asked them, how do I do that? And they recommended me to get associated in ATI and maybe start collaborating. So in 2015, I started collaborating, not so long after the audiovisual translation committee was created. So it was all very young. And in 2019, I think it was, I started working on GameLoc. And then as I started to meet people who also work in GameLoc, and we started forming some kind of community that transcends Argentina, like the whole of Latin America, Mexico included, I realized that there was no representation, at least in Latin America, and there was very little representation in Europe and in countries that have a longer tradition of legal or official institutional representation. And that's when I suggested Santi Miguel, which you might know from working in MQ and refusing to add the dark mode joke.
And from our amazing webinar.
Joke.
Yes.
And he's also a collaborator in ATI, and that's actually how we met. And I told him we need to have a GameLoc committee, and he was on board. And we started seeing that several of our colleagues with whom we shared this Discord channel and everything were associated. So we told him, and that's how it started. I wanted to add something else, but I don't remember now. So my comment regarding what regarding the slides and everything is that I love it that before knowing each other and before knowing about the other associations, we planned on doing similar things and like studying and approaching students and the awards, because we're also thinking about like giving awards. And I was thinking maybe is it bad to copy whatever we see in other associations that we think is cool, or is it a good thing? And I think it's cool. I mean, as long as you don't, for instance, between ATI and ATRAE, as we don't overstep the others' activities, I think that it's even better because it shows the world, shows everyone that we have the same interests and we are, pushing in the same direction. And what we are asking for is not as crazy as some people may think. So that was my
thank you.
Reflection. Just
of course. No, it's great. I mean, you have to get inspired to even like see what's like possible or available for you, right? Like, I think I'm raising a question now that a lot of the community is constantly asking, including myself, honestly, like, where is the step? Like, where do you go from like being a completely unofficial little forum, for example, to the step of being an official association? And are all associations also registered by law? And how does that work in your countries?
I mean,
do you want me to start? Oh, sorry, Tom. Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
In Spain, you have to be registered, and you have to abide by a set of things. For example, you have to have norms and to abide by the law and so on. And I'm kind of lost on this, but I know you have to make it official, because when, for example, when we have the elections and everything, we have to talk with the ministry and the government to tell them to present them the papers that we've changed the members of the board and everything and so on.
Right. Okay, very interesting. Yeah. What about the others?
I think it's exactly the same in Germany. We have very extensive rules about how associations have to be organized and how they have to work, and also about having a yearly meeting where you have to go through a certain number of points and Make sure that the board did all good things, also in financial matters and stuff like that. It's I think the German law about that is very, very extensive.
Yeah, probably like the Austrian law. So I might relate to that. Yeah, it's really interesting, of course, and that's why also it might be like easier to go under the umbrella of an existing association, right?
Yeah, definitely. It saves a bit of a headache. Yeah, I'm always in awe of people that actually start an association.
I know, it's a lot of work.
Because it's a lot of paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah. The bureaucracy. Right. What about you, Beatrice?
Yeah, I just wanted to say the same, like TRAMITI doesn't have many members, so what we found better was to go under another association that gave us the freedom to pursue our goals. So if you're in a country where there is no specific association, our reality could be an example, because we're not under like a specific translator association, but we're inside a freelancer association. So there are many ways to create a place where you belong. It's just about like going around and seeing the best, what fits the best.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, yeah, like you said, you told us before that TRAMITI is not per se an association, but still a collective and under the umbrella.
Yeah, it's like there's this big association, which is ATAA, which has like 300 members and more.
Right.
And it is an association for freelancers. So, and ACTA actually can also like, other associations can also join ACTA. So it is like, it has many layers. So that's why we decided to go there, because creating a section inside we could say already, yeah, it was easier. And also they were very open to us, and they also already had an association for like translators in the publishing sector. So that was already a good example of it working.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome that you found your place, basically. What about Maxime? Like, you also nodded before, I saw.
Yeah. So I won't say I know how it actually works, because
I don't think any of us know exactly how it works. We need to be a lawyer.
But yeah, basically you have to be registered to the state. There are some regions when it's harder, but well, ATAA is in Paris, so that's all right. And so you have you have to actually declare and manage your finances. So you have to declare like the amount you received, how much you spent, etc. But other than that, I wouldn't be able to say much more. I just know that it has to be like official, registered, like not off the record.
Right. I mean, yeah, we have to start somewhere. It's really great if other people are able to do that for us. But yeah, I'm also in awe of anybody like really starting something of their own. I'm looking myself into something, but still, I need to be inspired and seeing other associations and how they're doing things, because, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad there were a lot of people before us who at least worked for other specializations. So we could basically tag along. That's really, really important. Okay. Yeah, let's dive into the second big question for our session.
Sorry, I couldn't answer my part. Can I do it?
Of course. Go ahead.
So I don't know if it's the same in your countries, but in Argentina you have two different things. One is a union, and one is an association, which is what we are. We are registered as a non-profit. It's the same as everyone else said. There are certain laws to be followed. You have an assembly, and you have elections for authorities, and you have the tax. How do you call it? The tax entities, governmental, breathing on the back of your neck, because there's a lot of money laundering in non-profits. So to be unionized, to be a union, there are other eligibility issues that you have to abide by. Maybe a minimum amount of people doing that, and not only it's harder, but it's also unions are not very well seen sometimes here in at least in our country. So being a nonprofit gives you less rights regarding enforcing, but also a better image just as it is. So for us, we have some similar regulations and laws as everyone else said, but we are registered as a nonprofit.
Interesting. Okay. I'm so sorry. I apologize for leaving you off before. I got a little too excited about the next question as well. So sorry, but that's really interesting. Sorry, I want to actually ask a follow-up question quickly, because you said unions are not very well, like, or people are not aware of unions in Latin America. Why would you think that is?
Because there is a history of unions acquiring too much power and turning into pressure groups and like some sort of mafias. And I will not name any because it started off as real cases, but then it went on to be like some kind of reputation. So it's not only in Argentina, it's in many Latin American countries. And also because maybe some of our governments historically founded unions and tried to give them like as much power as they could. And as human beings, as we are, people who have power always want more. So it like went to the other way of the of the spectrum. And so there are some unions, at least here in Argentina, who are like kind of like hooligans. So if you can, find something to compare it to. So sometimes it's best not to be a union, although it of course has disadvantages, mostly like enforcing rates and helping to gain rights.
Okay, that's
I'm sorry if I offend anyone in the chat, but reputation is reputation. There's nothing I can say about that.
Interesting how also the public is seeing, people joining a union, and that there's basically like a wall you have to like, pass if you want to like be a member, but still be a respectable member of the community. So honestly, I just want to dive into this quick with the others too, if I may. Like, do you think in your countries, like, it's similar? Is there anything where you'd say people don't want to join unions because their reputation might suffer? I personally never heard. Yeah, please.
What I've seen here, for example, is that people don't want to join unions because if they join unions, they are seen different. The boss, it's like treats you differently because you're covered by a set of things. So you can, your rights, and people in charge don't like people who know their rights. So it's like, and for example, if you join and you not join the union, because you can join the union to have your rights covered. For example, if you get sacked off, you can go to the union and meet their lawyers and then fight for money if it was wrongful. But if people in unions that are on board and everything have a set of hours that have to dedicate to the union, and bosses and people cannot say anything. For example, if you are an active member of the union, you have, for example, let's say 4 hours a month to dedicate to the union for free. So you have to you can take that time off your work. So
interesting.
It's not really good. people don't tend to like them because, I mean, they know their rights basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's also what I hear, right? And we see the news pop up every now and then, sadly, yeah, of companies actually being union busters, and like they don't like people who know their rights, like you said. But yeah, it's very interesting because that seems still to be a little different from what Lau just explained to us, right? The general, I don't know, reputation.
Can I
Basically.
add a
Yes,
little thing?
of course.
Depending on your work, there are some professions or some things you cannot do unless you join the union. And also here, for instance, I know of friends of mine who work in public roles that, for instance, it's like the union not forces you, but tells you kindly that they will help you only if you join it. So yeah,
Right.
it's not like why would you join? Why wouldn't you? Sometimes you don't have a choice, depending on your work, of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing, both of you. Is there anything like the others want to add to this, or should
Yeah,
we
sure.
just keep on? Yes, please.
So yeah, about unions. Well, you know us. We're in France. We're good about demonstration, shouting in the street when things go south. So yeah, of course we have a huge union culture. So I can't really say for people working in companies. I know it's common for people you work with to be in unions. I've met a lot when I worked as a student, like on a construction site. A lot of people were in the unions, and I don't think they were treated differently. For our category, I would say I think people sometimes are a bit afraid of joining unions and association because, like you said, of how maybe the clients or the vendors would treat them. So people are not really always vocal about it. And people also fear maybe that when you join, when you're a young translator and you begin in the field, they fear that they're going to be judged by more experienced translator that are going to say, oh, you should not accept a job unless it's paid like really good, and but you actually have to start somewhere, right? And people maybe are afraid to have to be judged because of this, and they tend maybe either to join the union or the association and not really seek help or counsel, or not join at all because they're afraid of the members being judgmental, I guess. Which is not the case. Like, I think in every association here, people are welcoming, understanding, especially with young translator. We know that it's better to counsel them and accompany them rather than to scold them. It works way better.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Just wanted to ask, like, do you think it's warranted, right? There's a lot of misconceptions sometimes flying around.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But I mean, it's in France. Like, I don't know how unions are perceived in other countries, like you said.
Right.
But here it's not such a big deal. It's pretty common.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody wants to add to this?
I would like to add something tiny thing. I mean, in Germany, there's also a big union culture. But the problem that I sometimes see is that those unions are so big and our specific profession is so small that it's very, very easy to get lost in there. We, for example, have a big union for service workers, let's say, which is like a very, very big group of people.
Right.
And they have a certain amount of man hours and budget that they can use to improve working conditions for people. They're probably going to be sometimes more likely to choose the bigger groups than I at some point tried to calculate or like come up with a number of how many German GameLoc specialists are there actually, and it's really hard to come up with a number, and it's not going to be very high.
Right.
So I sometimes have the feeling that potentially they might not be that much interested in our particular area of work. And so I think working with a particular association that is really just focused on this, like the AVU, makes more sense. But one thing doesn't preclude you from doing another thing. There are people who are members of a union and they're a member of the AVU. And there's also other bigger associations of translators, literary translators and stuff like that. So some people are members in a lot of them and divide up their time between these different associations and unions.
Right.
I think you have to decide for yourself what makes the most sense to you.
I mean, that's also like a reason why we're having this roundtable right now. We want to have you present what your associations stand for, but also how people can contribute. And we're going to go into this question right after I ask Bea if she also wants to add something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Italy also has a big union culture. At the same time, I could say that unions are perceived in different ways depending on the work you do and what they achieved. So it really depends on the industry you're working in. And what I noticed is that for a new industry like ours, it's very hard to find a union that will welcome you because often it is not understood. So there are many unions for many categories, but it is very hard to find a union for us at the moment. So I see it as a step in the future if people would like to find a union and unionize, or also create a union for our profession. But at least for now, at least in Italy, which is a bit of an old country sometimes when it comes to mentality and attitude, I don't think it's for video game translators, at least it's not a feasible step right now, but the future can lead to many ways, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Tam, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, for example, we have been in ATRAE, we have been running our committee for 2 years, more or less. And last year, I'm not going to say the biggest because there are two big unions, but one of the fiercest unions in Spain made a video game workers a committee into their own union. So they welcome translators, they welcome everyone who is involved in video games. But I mean, it was only a year ago, so it's incredible, and it's amazing how things evolve and how people has to step up, because like Christian said, I mean, big unions are usually, for example, in Spain, are seen for other kind of jobs and works and everything. And we've also been, or I've been told, or I've been hearing that, for example, freelancers cannot unionize because of some law or something. So we have to go to associations but cannot unionize, which is not really true. You can unionize as a freelancer, but unions can discuss and can negotiate some things that we associations cannot. So it's what we Beatrice said, to find whatever works for you, but you have to know your, at least for me, because I've always grown up with that mentality. You have to know your rights, and you need spaces to know your rights. So you need to please go to associations or unions or something that fight for your rights and teach you your rights, and so we can all evolve in this economy and situation and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's really important we instill this notion into each and every one of us, I think, because together we can really reach these new levels and also pave the way for, whatever, new unions, if you so will, and or whatever's possible within the framework of the law in the country that we're in. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Like, that's really interesting. I digressed a bit, but I think it ties perfectly also into our next point on our question list, which is, like
Sorry,
how.
excuse me. May
Yes,
I interrupt you just before we go
of
to
course.
the next? I saw
Yes.
someone in the chat saying like he doesn't feel, or he or she, I don't know, they don't feel legitimate to join a union, maybe with some kind of imposter syndrome. Like I get it, I get where it comes from, but I swear that if you have like, if you feel like an association or union speaks to you, that you share their value, their ethics, you can actually like enter and be accepted, and you can seek guidance with them. And like we said, because we had like a little pre-reunion yesterday, you don't have to actively take part in everything the union or the association does. It's the little thing. It's giving your opinion when on chats, sharing ideas, maybe voting when there's a vote. I don't know, like if you want to help respond to emails, volunteer at events. It's just all the little things that
Right.
make you part of a community, and that helps the association to just live on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for picking up on that. And oh yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that as well, Maxime. At least not all unions are only for professionals with a degree. Like for instance, I'm of course I'm going to talk about the example I know, which is ATI. It welcomes professionals with a degree, but also people with showable experience. Like you can get a letter from the agency saying, yes, this person has been working with us for so and so years. So you don't need to have a degree to join any association. Any association. So some associations might require a degree, but it's not the case for all of them. So it's not about that, and it's not about also saying, do I have the experience or the showable expertise in this. It's about what I want, what conditions do I want improved for myself and my colleagues, and what ideas do I have to go towards those improvements. We might be getting into a next question, so I'll stop there.
No, thank you so much. I mean, it's really important to add. I also want to say to not feel legitimate is like a collective feeling that a lot of game localization professionals share around the globe. And I think it's also pretty much because we're undermined by a lot of other industries and not seen, and people are not really aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and that we're really important. And if you want to hear my stance, as long as you translated or worked on a game localization, you're a game localizer and you deserve to be seen, heard, and your opinion matters. So yeah, just throwing this out there. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for also picking up on that. Sorry, what did you say, Maxime?
No, I just said louder.
Yes. Yes. So, okay. I'm going to tie this into the next question, like I said, which is also like, how do members like join you? What are the actions where you maybe need people for, or like, how can members contribute, and what do they really benefit from? Like when they join an association. I know we talked a lot about this already, so if you want to add something on this topic, like maybe now's the chance.
I mean, everyone is welcome to help because like I've been repeating myself all this time, is hard work, and you need people, and you need hands, and you need fresh ideas, and you need everyone that can hop on anything, really, because what people don't realize, or don't tend to realize, or don't want to realize, is that we're not paid. This is all free labor, and it's hard because you have to combine your work and your 8 hours of work, and then you have to put some more hours into the association for just everyone, because joining an association is not because you can gain something from it. Is because everyone can gain and can obtain and can see that their conditions are improving, because more people, more numbers, more members, it also means that we have more credibility and more strength when we go to the government to say, hey, this is happening to us, this is happening in the translation industry. You know, it's like, I mean, we're not two people fighting for this, which we represent more than 600. So it's like you have to listen to us.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, Bea.
Yeah, I also wanted to add that so it's not about like your contribution doesn't have to be like huge. You can also like just, you know, work 10 minutes a week or 5 minutes, or not work on something for a month because you're too busy. And everybody has like a talent. So someone maybe is good with graphics, so someone is good at doing, I don't know, writing posts for the website, or articles, or I don't know, taking notes during the meetings. So you can really contribute in every way you want. And so this is like what I want to highlight is that you give something, you get something, because it's a community. So that's what matters for associations. And also what is very important is that if we fight alone, we're also very fragile, very weak, because like we don't have the same power we have in negotiations and in other issues if we're alone. If we're together and you're also like kind of shielded by the name of the association that is fighting for you instead of your name, and you can avoid some, I don't know, some issues later on, and at the same time you're still fighting for something that will improve the conditions for everybody. Because when a single person happens on an issue, it is like very likely that other people suffered from the same issue. So this is very important. So we can give something and we can also get something in return, not out of greed, but it is a true collaboration when you join an association.
Please, Christian, yes.
I just wanted to add a tiny thing. Associations can also help you when you have an idea that you want to, well, make reality. Let's say, I don't know, for a smaller project that would help our entire industry or something like that, but you don't have the manpower yourself. You will find like-minded people that will help you with that. For example, in the AFOE, everybody can just more or less start a work group and ask for people to help them. And I know that there's one project right now working on an explanatory movie about what is AV translation that will probably be shown before movies in the cinema. Hopefully, that's the dream. Which I find like a really cool idea. Other people are working on like AV terminology that's then being sent out via social media, just like getting people to know what is actually involved in that, because our work involves a lot of things, a lot of skills. So if you have an idea like that and need other people to help you with that, then that's the place to go to, because that's where those people will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, please, Maxime, go ahead. Sorry, Lau, I'm going to take after.
Sorry, Lau. Yeah, like Beatrice said, like when you have a problem and you have maybe, I don't know, like a client that has like bad habits, bad practice, maybe it's going to be like 10, 20 people that are concerned by this problem, but by uniting together and writing with the association name, of course the association has to approve of the letter maybe you're going to send to a client, but it's potentially like a 600 person entity that speaks to the client, and not like 10, 12, 20 people that can easily get blacklisted or something like that. So yeah, it's like a protection that you can get from the association. You talked about the benefits that could get from joining. There is a main one that I think is very cool, is that in ATAA, so I don't know, I think one of your association actually does it too, but I mean, get inspired, I think it's a great idea. If you want to steal the idea, you're very welcome. But we have like some kind of, I think we stole it ourselves, some kind of work database when you can type the work, the audiovisual work someone worked on, or you can just have like the title, the movie or the series. And you actually have so the series, the name, the people that worked on it that are in ATA. And we recently added video games, so people can actually register video games they worked on. And so you have your little resume on the website of ATA, and you have all the work you've worked on that are registered within the database. I think it's very cool. Like I think it's very nice to have like a little portfolio, and it's yeah, I think it's shiny, it's great, it's it's very cute. I love it actually, and I'm glad that we have video game because it's like it was added last year or something, and it's really cool. It helps maybe represent our field, video game that sometimes, like, because of the NDAs and stuff, we cannot always talk about it. Well, in France we actually can, but it's another subject.
That's a whole other can of worms that we might not be able to fully open today. But yeah, thank you for sharing. I want to go to Lau now because you also wanted to say something.
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing down things to to say as everyone else was talking. So I try to be as succinct as I can.
You're doing amazing.
First of all, I'd like to clarify that, like Tam said, this is not paid work. This is all. That's why we call it collaboration. At least in ATI, you collaborate. You don't work for. Actually, ATI has only one employee, which is our administrative employee, who registers the payments. That's it. Everyone else works for free. Or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So there's a misconception among many people regarding joining an association. It's that although it might have job listings, collaborating in an association doesn't automatically mean you'll get work. It's networking. You might get, by knowing your colleagues and other people who collaborate in the association, you might get some work, but it's not like if you join, you start working, you get jobs. It does happen. It happened to me, and I'm guessing happened to everyone else here, but it's not a direct consequence, and it's not why you join, I think, at least for me. Repeating, as I say, we don't get paid at all. Actually, at least in ATI, being a board member, you cannot charge for anything. If I do, a course or a webinar, I cannot charge for it. Like I said, the tax administrations in our country just, breathe on the back of your neck, and you cannot do anything, shady. It's mostly about networking, meeting people who do similar things to what you do or totally different, and getting to know new specializations you didn't even know existed and you might like. And so echoing what everybody else said, it's also about finding a place to execute ideas. For instance, I take a great example, which is Jessica Terceros, which is, I think, who is listening, I think. She has so many ideas, so many great ideas, and executing them by herself or finding, in a group of colleagues maybe, does not have the same weight and does not have the same structural basis to make them right and to do them and executing them as fast as within an association. And you have the backup of 600 members, and you have the backup of the board, and you have the backup of the reach that the association has. Also, sorry, these are like so many topics. Also, resonating with what Bea said. You try to make me as a coordinator of different committees along the years. You try to leverage people's skills. For instance, I cannot make a flyer for the life of me. I am horrible with design, and so Facu, who is one of the members, was added to the committee because we needed to make a flyer for the next day, and he jumped in. And some people are good at, like Bea said, writing public communications, and some people are good at executing or administrative skills, which you need a lot of them in an association. There's a lot of bureaucracy and administrative work. And also, it's a place of communion of different ideas and views. You get into an association and you think, I do GameLoc, and what we need to fight for is this and this and that. And you get into the association and you meet literary translators, and you find that they are also fighting for authors' rights. They're also fighting for copyright and regalias. What do you call that? Dan, can you help me, please?
Royalties.
Thank you. Royalties. And you find a common ground. And that also broadens your own views, and it also helps you, like you all said, have more agents in one same fight.
Right.
So sorry it took me so long.
No, all good.
It's a lot.
It's a really important part of like why we're here. So thank you.
Thanks.
It's really, really amazing. And it doesn't only like broaden the views, it broadens opportunities, I think, as well. And you all brought up amazing points. Like everybody can bring to the table what they're able to do, what they're good at. We're all unique in our talents. Like that was a really great point, I think. I love that. And yeah, I mean, we're here to collectively also find out how we can improve our own life, but also the life of our colleagues. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much. That was amazing, honestly. Not sure if I have a lot to add to that specifically, but I saw. Sorry, did anybody want to say?
Yeah.
Yes?
It's just
Yes,
that
please.
I think it's about what Lau just said. It's interesting also to approach maybe associations that are in other audiovisual fields. Well,
Yeah.
some of them just regroup into one association, but because they have actually fought in the past for some rights, and most of them obtain like for royalties, the fact to always be credited. Those are things that sometimes they had to fight for, and I think it's interesting to ask them, okay, how did you do it? What am I supposed to do? Who am I to go to? And they have really great advice saying, okay, that's how we did it. That's why now it's like that. And I think it's interesting also to just not stay within the video game community, but also try to see how they did it in other fields.
Absolutely. I mean, I also want to say personally, like, sometimes people are not even aware of the problems they're facing or the improvements that could be done in their own like work life. For example, that other people get royalties was not known to me when I started game localization. And that's like a ding ding ding. Okay, wow, that's actually interesting. Like, how can we realize that for our profession? And yeah, that's a really important point that you brought up too, Maxime. Thank you.
Yeah, because we actually do similar jobs, so it's weird that we don't have. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So connect. I want to remind everybody that we're actually having 5 more minutes until our planned end of the session, but we might overextend a little if that's fine with everybody in the session, because I still think we're going to have, I don't know, we have so much to talk about. There's not really an end to it, but we knew this before we did this, so this is the reality we're trying to deal with right now. we're also gonna take a little time before we end for the chat questions, or like at least comments. So I want to ask though, and dive into a different question too, that ties into a lot of things we already talked about. But what are specific actions that your respective association is currently like fighting for, or like actively working on, or that you specifically are working on within your association with the talents you have, when it comes to also like newer problems that we're seeing rising up within the game localization industry, which is, you know, machine translation, post editing, or like the rise of AI and LLMs, and, you know, other problems that we're all dealing with. But what are specific actions you're currently maybe working on? That would be a good question, I think. Anybody want to start?
I'll start. I always start.
Yes,
I'll start.
thank you.
With the crediting problem, what we've done is just to write emails to the developers. So we have like a calendar, and then we check the game, and if they don't, if the game doesn't have credits, then we email the developer, and yeah, the developer or the publisher, like, hey, this is a creative work, you should blah 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 blah. And now we have added the Spanish law because we've researched that, and we're trying to do that. They mostly don't reply, or they have like for example Forbes to contact them, so they kind of get lost. And some do reply and ask the agency, and some reply like, hey, the agency doesn't answer us, can you contact them? It's like, and some of them think we are the agency. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. And with the post editing and the AI and everything, we're planning to do another set of letters and emails to send them to say, because this is very obscure, and as with the crediting problem, agencies have always told us that are the clients. Then we started sending the emails, and we've seen the clients are not responsible for not crediting us. So it's like with the post editing, machine translation, and the AI, we think we are on the same thing here. So it's like, hey, look at this, don't do that, blah blah blah. So we plan to not scold them, of course, but to teach them, and to say that this is creative and this is a creative work, and it should be treated likewise.
I mean, yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing that. For anybody who didn't know that, Tom was a huge fighter in the translators and the credits movement, and so much has happened since the start of this movement. And yeah, like even that is exciting, you know, like you create a hashtag and things are moving from there.
Yeah, I just hopped on. The credit goes to GameLoc Gathering.
Yes.
So we in ATRAE just like I said, numbers and everything, and institutions. We just got it and said, okay, we have to do something with this. We cannot. It cannot be only Twitter, because developers must see this. So
Absolutely.
we kind of took it to from there.
I also love that you're actually emailing developers. That's great. I love that.
We might start doing this as well. It's a great idea, actually.
Yes, get inspired.
If you want our model, feel free. I'll send it back to you, all of you, wherever you need.
Can be handy, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. Like, anybody wants to add to that? Like, what are their respective like current efforts?
These days we're pretty much so like I said in ATAA video game, we're 2 people at the board representing a video game, but we're both super busy. And the thing is, video game is not our primary focus. So it's something it's close to our heart, and we try to defend it. But we also have other activities that we try to defend. But the thing is, for example, our association is defending things like AI in dubbing and subtitling, and by extension, it's something that would benefit video game if it came to. Well, I hope so. If it worked. And so, yeah, the main thing we do is, every time, maybe when there's a problem with a malpractice, credits issues, we try, and our community manager tries to raise awareness about that. And we try also to congratulate developers that actually credit their translators, so that you also promote good practices, I guess. But
I love
we
that.
still have to discuss ideas.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's amazing. I also love, like giving them a showcase, right? If something finally goes right, we need to have a space to also say, yes, this is how it should be done. And it doesn't always have to be about ranting and scolding and whatnot. Like, we create change in many ways. Yes, Law, please.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. So on our side, we first of all are trying to create more learning opportunities from this side of the ocean, because most of the teaching is done in Spain, and I mean, it's not that it doesn't work for us or it's not good for us, but it does have some differences, mostly in the Spanish variant, because Spain has Spain Spanish and we have Latam Spanish, which, has like 10 countries, 12 countries. So there are there are similarities, but there are some differences, and we are aiming to create learning opportunities that consider these differences. And regarding post-editing, we are investigating, we are organizing. This is not only for GameLoc, this is for all translation activities. We are organizing webinars regarding its use and its misuse, and investigating what it's good for, what it's not good for, always considering that it's not good for creative processes and creative work. And we are also, like we spoke privately, in Argentina, we don't have a law that prohibits talking about rates. So in our rate sites, we recommend how to give out a quote for post-editing. Of course, if we can avoid it, we could not work with it. I know there are people who don't mind doing it. So if you need to do it, if you want to do it, or if you want to dip your toes in it, at least we can give you an advice on how to charge for it. So
that's really important, like having an idea what to do with, if a client comes to you and wants it done for 2 cents. Having a counter is really, really important. Thank you so much. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that what we are doing as TRAMITI, actually, we're at different steps when it comes to video game translators and audiovisual translators, because the audiovisual group is already discussing authors' rights and royalties with some attorneys and lawyers. So they're like at a step above us, while video game translators are right now trying to get some legal counseling regarding NDAs, because we saw what Spain and ATRAE did, and we are pretty sure that this is something that is also that, like, Italy will also could follow Spain's example. Sorry for the many likes put there.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right. And so, yeah, we're like moving forward the recognition of authors' rights. And also when it comes to rates, I want to highlight that the European Commission, I think 2 years ago, said that freelancers that are working in conditions that are weaker when they work with clients, like when the industry is unbalanced, they can discuss rates. So this is something that it is a big step. And it is one of the reasons why we're also planning to have a very wide survey about rates in our industry, because finally we can also share this kind of information, and we can get information about what is the rate, and it is a fair rate for our industry. And when it comes to artificial intelligence and machine translation, actually our efforts are in raising awareness. So we're collaborating a lot with ABT, as I said, so writing the statement for artificial intelligence and stuff like that. But we're still at that point, because I also feel that raising awareness is a big step for AI, because it's a buzzword, and the people that have to understand how it is counterproductive in our industry is the people that are asking for that. So the developers and the publishers and obviously the agencies, the language providers. So we think raising awareness is a very big step.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is power in this sense, right? So that's very, very important. Did I see your hand up, Lau, or was that just my imagination? Okay, my imagination. Christian, do you want to also add to this? I would be so interested in also your point.
I don't think I have to add much, because I think a lot of the things that we do were already mentioned by my colleagues here.
Right, but what are you working on? Like, what are you currently like working on, for example?
I think we're still very, very much at in the phase where we're trying to get more people involved in general, and trying to do more outreach. We also, for example, but also have a committee that is trying to look into, that has the unthankful task of going through all the AI literature and news, and trying to sift through and put together a coherent rebuttal, let's say, that we can then show to people and say, like, this is why all of this does not work.
Yeah, interesting. But somebody needs to retain that knowledge and have it, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, and they're desperately looking for people. So if you feel like doing it, come to our association and join that committee. They're always looking for people.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I think that's.
I mean, that's already a lot of work. Not saying, like, you don't have to have a list of things that you're doing.
No, and like there's some committees. Like I said, we were together there with other audiovisual translators, and some of them have like different interests than us, so they have their own little things that they work on.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. I mean, thank you so much for sharing. I think that's already great. And honestly, yeah, we're all in awe. And like I said before too, I constantly see what the AVU is doing. So there's a lot going on. Even the social media posts for Dubbing Day yesterday were amazing. Like, there were so many posts going out, and somebody taking over social media is also a lot of work, as we also know in the LocSIG. So it's amazing. Like, if everybody can bring something to the table, it's already more than nothing. So yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for adding this. I want to remind the chat right now that we're already in overextending. So I want to ask you, if you have specific questions to our amazing members of their associations, then please put them in the chat, because now's the time we can bring them up and give them space. I see some funny comments about MTPE, but that was to be expected. I'm not going to repeat those because
can I add an unpopular opinion regarding MTPE? I understand that many people are like 100% against it, and I share that opinion for the most part. But we need to keep in mind that not all translation work is the same. I remember having with an agency, I got, I don't know, 20,000 words manuals with an update on 2,000 words, which were like corrections and stuff like that. And at that point, having maybe, I mean, using a CAT tool, of course, was very helpful, but depending on your specialization or whatever you do, it might be a good tool to help ease your work. I don't agree with the opinion, with the view that it should not be used at all for anything, never. My opinion is that it should be used consciously and knowing that you need a human to at least finish the work. Another whole different thing is how much they want to pay you for that and how much you should charge. That's a whole other thing.
I think that's the bigger issue with it, and that's why it's also a hot topic within the industry, because it's not the tool.
I don't know, but saying I would never do that, or I don't want to, translate finance text. I'm not going to say that finance text shouldn't exist.
No, of course, that's a good point. I mean. You're right, and like you said before, ATI is also like basically covering a lot of other translation professions. So, of course, it needs to still be a consideration when we talk about that. Thank you. Yes, Maxime, please.
About MTPE, the thing is, like you said, like I get that in some industries you actually have maybe to use it. I'm 100% against it usually. The problem comes for me when you want to. So in France we want to push the author status for a video game. Because with the author status, you are protected by law. You have to have your name on your work. And that's where also the notion maybe of royalties could come from. So you can translate video games with or without the author status, but the author status is legally you're better protected. And the thing is, if you use MTPE, you're like, can you be considered the author of what you write? Like, because so there's a problem with MTPE when you talk about creative work, and as soon as it's supposed to be creative and enter the author status, it doesn't work with MTPE, because 80% of what's going to be written, or 70% won't be compatible with the status on paper. So that's the main problem in our field, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. Needs to always stay a consideration. Nodding. Yes, we're all nodding, I think, even at least internally.
I just want to add that if any of you please get royalties for video games before we can, just help us. share the news, share anything, because it's really, really, really and quite complicated from the point we're standing on, and it's frustrating. So if you reach that goal, just hit me up. I need tips. I need info on how you did it.
Well, I suppose we should try to do like what they do in dubbing and subtitling. So basically, you'd have an organism that would have. It's basically companies that have contracts with channels. So that would be maybe with Steam for video games, because it's like one of the main video game channel, and maybe like the PlayStation stores and that kind of stuff. And so they would gather a percentage of sales and just give it back to people. I think one of the issues when you talk about it for translation, people are like, okay, but why are developers not getting any? Why are other people? And I'm not able to answer that. I just know that for movies, it's the same. You have a director, you have actors, you have engineers, and we still get royalties as translators. So there's something to be done about it. Thing is, you have to have organism willing to work with multinational corporation that don't really care about your local country laws, and so that's why it's even more complicated for video games. That's such a young industry, I suppose.
Yeah,
Right.
for us in our cases, we have we are not in the law, so that's why. I mean, we have to modify the law if we want. So it's not more like to find similarities between what they do in audiovisual, but what the law allow us. So audiovisual has a law that allow them to get royalties. We do not, and because we are not considered audiovisual or anything like that, we are considered. Video games are under the how do you say it? It's like it's like if it's no, it's like for example, Windows. It's a program for the law. It's a program, so it's like we're there, but we're not there. So we as translators have authors' rights, but so it's kind of navigating between those.
Right.
Those things. Sorry, I just.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry, but I have to cut off like this topic because we could talk about this for the rest of the night, I think. But I really want to take some time to also answer questions from the chat because I think they're extremely valuable and important. And yeah, also reflect a lot of the questions that other people might have. We had one from Elena Tafroni, and please, everybody, feel free to just blurt out whatever it is in your case. But she was wondering, like, what about, for example, an Italian translator that doesn't live in Italy wants to join an association? Do you suggest they should associate in Italy or in the country of residence? I think that's for Bea, at least.
Hi, Elena.
Yeah.
Also a colleague, like, thank you for your input. And so yes, actually we have translators that work from abroad, that live abroad. One of our one of the founders also is works from Japan and lives there. So yeah, the main I mean, it's very you could also like become a member of an association in your country of residence if the association there gives you benefits that you could that are inside your country. When it comes to TRAMITI, as an example, we work for the Italian language pair, so for people that are translating into Italian. So we're mostly working obviously with Italian laws because usually we work under Italian laws. But as an example, the rate survey is a rate survey for the Italian pair. So we will ask people that work from English into Italian, from other languages into Italian to give us information about the rates, the clients, the contracts and stuff. And also like their profile without getting like personal information, but like how many years have you been in the industry, so that we can also evaluate if there's like a growing curve when it comes to rates. So yeah, we're working mainly for like the Italian language pair, we could say. So I strongly suggest to check out like TRAMITI, and also maybe if you're not sure, just ask us some questions. You could just write to us an email and ask in detail what we can give you. But we already have members like living abroad, so yeah, I mean, it could be a great opportunity to join us.
Amazing, thank you for sharing. I suspect it's like similar for the others. Okay, yeah.
It's the same for the AFOU. I myself don't live in Germany. I live in the Netherlands.
See,
I'm a member of
interesting.
The AFOU.
Okay, amazing.
I just, for example, in Spain, I mean, you can join Spanish associations, but you have to take into account that not only your country of residency, but you're covered by the laws of the country you pay taxes on. So, for example, if you're a Spanish translator living in another country and paying taxes in another country, then our law doesn't consider you author because you have to pay taxes and to be legally be here to be covered by that law. I think. I don't know if I'm.
Of
if
course,
I'm
no,
talking
it
too
makes
much.
sense, right? Because the country of residence usually, like, that law is pertaining to you and not.
Yeah, so it
law
really
if you're-
depends on what you want and what you need and what you wanted. If you want to help your peers, then by all means join any association. But if you want to know your rights, I think it's better to join associations that are in your country of residence.
Right. That's a
But you
good
can
point.
join both. Whatever fits you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, Lau, was that your similar experience?
Yeah, my answer before Tam spoke was just about the same. It depends on what you want to.
Right.
It depends on why you are joining. Like I said at first, we accept an ATI, and anyone who translates from or into Spanish can join, regardless of their country of residence or birth. But it depends on what you want to do with your membership,
right, and what you want to bring.
whether
to
it
the
works
table.
for you or not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
I cannot.
amazing.
There's not only one answer to that.
Yeah, got it. I mean, it's really important to also note that the associations are generally open to accept members, like wherever they are, as long as they want to also contribute and they can still benefit from it depending on their own needs. So yeah, I hope that answered the question, Elena. I'm going to go to a different question here. Like I said in the disclaimer, we're not here to answer specific law pertaining questions that are very personal. But in general, somebody asked, what do you think about NDAs that forbid you to speak about the game that you've worked on? And also maybe dictate the rate that you have to work under. And I guess we're all having different experiences here, but I think I can answer this one quickly too, because Tom said before, for example, that they have specific efforts towards making that unenforceable basically within the contract and seeing, okay, this is our country's law. So you can't really enforce it even if it's in the contract, right? There's sometimes clauses in the contract that just can't be enforced under local law. And that's just how it is around the world. But as long as you know your rights and you know the rights of your country, then you're probably safe because, yeah, that can't really be touched in. Is there anything you want to add to this? Yes, Christian, please.
You're muted.
Sorry, you're still muted. Thank you, Tom.
Sorry, I just wanted to add a tiny thing to that, which I now completely forgot. Maybe I'll remember it in a.
It's all good. Sorry, maybe the unmute
so-
was the problem. Yes, Maxime, please.
So it's basically the same in France. You cannot be law protects you. You should be able to speak about what you worked on. The only problem I see is that you might be blacklisted by the company or the vendor, or you might also actually you could actually be sued, even if you're right and you're completely in your right. You could be sued, even though you would probably win in the end. It's long procedures, maybe costly, and you're against a multi-millionaire company. So even if you're right, it might get you financially maybe in trouble, or being blacklisted is not the best experience, I suppose. So it's
No, of course.
there's some kind of bullying that can happen, I guess, legal bullying, but you're protected by law depending on the country.
Yeah. I mean, yes, please, Tom.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is contact a lawyer. I mean, that's it. Or join an association that has free lawyer consult meetings, whatever. For example, we in ATRAE, we have one-on-one every month. We have several allocated hours, and I myself have sent an NDA to this lawyer and say, okay, what's wrong with this? Because, I mean, this doesn't sit right. And she's like, okay, this is illegal in Spain, this is illegal in Spain, this is illegal in Spain. And from there, you may say, okay, this is illegal, please change it.
Yeah.
Or, no, it's illegal. And then saying, okay, but this is illegal in my country, or this is a law in my country, or whatever. I think that's enough. But first step will be just send it to a lawyer. I mean, there are some NDAs that say that you cannot share them with a lawyer, but that's kind of illegal too. So, I mean, you cannot blindly sign anything if you don't understand it. So it's like, try and get a lawyer to take it. Just, if not for you to say to them, okay, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It's just for you to know what you're singing.
Right.
Not thinking, but yeah, sing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much. Lau wasted your hand up. Sorry.
I wanted to say something, but I think Christian was first.
Do you remember what you wanted to say? Yes, please. Yeah.
I just want to say that we're trying to teach students, for example, as well, and it seems to be something straightforward, but a lot of people don't think about it. You are allowed to ask for things to be removed out of an NDA before you sign it, and out of the normal work contracts. And at the beginning, for me, that was also something that I was like scared of, because you never know how the client will react. And in a surprising amount of cases, it happens that things are removed out of contracts and NDAs. Now, that always depends on the client, because I mean, sometimes you also just talk to a vendor manager that has no idea what's in that thing. But it is always good if something feels weird or icky, then you can always ask get it removed. And if it's an NDA that seems overly harsh in general, that probably will also tell you something about how the company itself will work. And you might want to think about whether you want to work for that company.
I mean, there's really lots of clauses that, you know, can be discussed even, and usually you discuss this with HR. But also, like I said, we're not diving too deep into this, but like it's really important to note, and thank you, Tom, for also like taking this basically out of my mouth before. Like seek legal counseling, and like you said, within the associations, there's also usually, you know, contact addresses of lawyers that like are maybe aware of these problems already, or, you know, some people who already have dealt with that in the past. And that's really important. Lau, please.
Yes.
Good. We love a cat appearing.
So what I wanted to say was, I'm also trying, I will also join with a comment that happened almost at the beginning regarding when we were talking about unions and associations. Having a global and international exchange between companies and freelancers entails that the same law doesn't apply for both parties. Sometimes, like Tam said, and not, like we said, not getting too much into the question that was on the chat, because it's long and it's also legal assistance, and we're not getting into that.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No. So someone in the chat, when you were talking about unions, was saying that we should have a global union, and my answer to that is that I think it's virtually impossible, because every country has different laws. And if like the five of us want to make an international union for GameLoc professionals, we could never do it, because you need to register it somewhere. And in which country do you register it? And also what laws apply to it? So it's, I mean, the best we can do is what we are doing, which is, you know, sign agreements and express. They're stepping on my legs. and express like a communion, a common ground, and common interests, and working together in specific tasks or specific goals under actually contracts between and agreements between institutions. That's the most you can do. You cannot make today, as the world is today, you cannot make an international union, unfortunately.
That's a really good point and really important, because it would be, of course, amazing. We could do that, but it's not as easy as it sounds, like we talked about before and in the beginning about the laws, registering, and all the things that need to be done to even form a union. But it's really important to stay connected also within the associations. Is there any other questions that I didn't see so far in the chat? I think that was really important. Sharon just said something, and it's really hard for me to read a long message right now, Sharon. 1 second. Yes. Okay. We're like closing this off, but I want to ask our amazing participants if they have, I don't know, some words to share with game developers, or even potential new members, or people just working in the game localization industry feeling a little lost, or like, is there anything you want to give to our audience before we close this off and wrap up?
ATAA, for developers and publishers, please put in your contracts that the localization team has to be credited before saying anything to an agency. That is helpful.
Good point. Thank you so much.
I want to add that ATI is always open to new ideas and suggestions, as long as they're made constructively, and it's open to new projects and new committees. We are actually opening 2 more in the coming weeks. So if you have suggestions and ideas that are not only you're doing this wrong, you're always welcome to write to us or contact us through our social.
Thank you so much, Lau. What about you, Bea? I see you thinking really hard.
Yeah. So I would like to share 2 things. So for publishers and developers, think about us like writers. So because that's what we are in another language. So I think that this will change your mind about what localization is. It is not just a step you do at the end just to reach more markets and just to gain more money. It is like rewriting your game into another language, and it could be very enriching if we can work in the proper conditions. And if you care about your writing, you should care about the conditions we, the writers in the other languages, are working. And as for people out there that would love or are interested in TRAMITI, we're very open to welcoming everybody, and we want to do so much and do a lot for the Italian community. So please, if you want to bring something to the table, new ideas, and also you're looking for help, just come to us, because we are there for you as we are there for each other, because we don't want anybody to feel alone. And that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's beautiful. I love that. Maxime, is that your hand up, or?
No, but I can hop in.
Yes, please.
It's really great. I think as a linguist, I hate actually this term, but as translators,
really,
I don't like it, because it sounds like you're not a translator, you're like a technician of the language. I don't know, I hate it. In French, there's a difference. I don't know. Thing is, I know that we don't know each other's work. I'm talking to developers, and so maybe there are some aspects of translation that developers might not be aware of. And so that would be interesting to have maybe as much information as we can on the game we're translating. We've signed NDAs. We're not going to leak anything. We have reputations to uphold. So we would like to have as much context as possible when we translate something, because we want to provide quality. And also about ATAA, we're trying to grow the video game community, even if it's not the main focus of the association for now. The more video game members we will have, the more actions we will be able to do. We will have more impact as well. And so if developers want to share insights and speak directly, maybe if there's something, if you have like on the social media, our CM ranting about the credits or something, and you want to reach out to ATAA, don't hesitate. We are about we are like a 10 people turnover. We answer emails, and we would be really open to discuss matters and maybe try to settle things. And yes, like Tamara said, please add a credit policy in your contract. That would help a lot, because
Right.
we can't do anything, but on our as individuals, it's hard to do anything about it.
It really is. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Christian, what are your words to share?
Now I have to think about what I need to add to that. Okay. Dear devs, if you want to help us, there's one thing only that is very, very important. Give us meaningful string IDs.
Yes, big one. A
That's
big
like,
one.
that will save you and us so much time. If you do
Mm.
one thing, it is just read the IGDA LocSIG guidelines on good best practices in localization. Think about localization early, but even if you don't have too much time, just have informative string IDs. Then we don't have to ask 8 million questions. We don't ask these questions because we're stupid. We ask this question very often because we see literally a tenth of the game, namely the text.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Amazing. Thank you.
To people,
and because we have a lot of genders in our language.
Oh yeah,
like,
yes,
exactly.
It's a thing. Like
gender and grammar. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. To people that are interested in GameLoc or
in joining your association, maybe.
Yes, I mean everybody is welcome all the time. If you just have any questions, either go on the website or contact me. I don't care.
Right.
I can answer all your questions, hopefully. But the one thing I've learned for myself that I would like to give like anybody that is starting, in the long run, it is always better to do more client acquisition than staying with a client that sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe even try to like every
Simple,
year
but true.
try to throw out the worst one and try to get somebody
Absolutely.
that is better. If you do that incrementally, you will see that over the years, your life will get much more fun.
Fun would be nice, right?
Yeah.
Having a little joy back in work, that would be really nice.
Right.
We're all fighting for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing that we want, right? We want to do
right.
this thing that we really enjoy and that we're good at. For a price that we can live off.
Absolutely.
And in a way that we do not lose our mind. That's not a lot to ask for, I think.
No. Sustainability comes first.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad that we already have to fight for that level, right?
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it. So if you want to help, join your association.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I have my own last words. I'm just commenting on if you're still around, Mark. I don't know. It's been more than 2 hours now, but you were talking about that imposter syndrome never goes away. And I just want to say that what I learned is imposter syndrome, and that was a question before too, you don't feel legitimate enough to maybe join someone. Imposter syndrome is not something that is a personal failure. It's a consequence of systemic problems that you face in your life. And thank you, Mark. I see you there. So that's great. Thank you so much for sticking around. Okay, that's basically the wrap-up words that I want to also share with the audience. Thank you so much for like having been here for the whole duration of this session. It was beautiful. It was amazing. We heard so many incredible like opinions and experiences, and we're so grateful that you've all been joining us today. Thank you so much for all your insights, for all the work that you do for game localizers around the world, not just in your countries, because I think every single association in any country is helping the greater good and, you know, is bettering standards for everybody. So thank you so much. And Christian also mentioned this again, but if you want to get in touch with Lau, Christian, Maxime, Bea, or Tamara, please reach out to them personally. We listed all their socials and contact information underneath the YouTube live. And yeah, thank you so much for having been here. If you have more questions to us or want to continue this discussion and conversation, we're here in the IGDA Localization SIG Discord, and we can keep talking. All these amazing members you see on screen are also part of our Discord. And we're very, very happy to have so many amazing people around the world organize for, you know, better standards. So yeah, that said, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And we hope this really, brought a lot of wisdom and was interesting to you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Just a few last words. Well, thank you to the chat for staying with us for so long. I hope it was very interesting. Thank you to our guests. It was really, really amazing to listen to you. And we hope that it will bring more people to help you out with every idea you have to improve the industry, improve the work and everything. And I want to thank you also the LocSIG team behind the scene, the team for the social media.
You're also real
for the moderation, Jerome for coordinating everything, and you, Julia, of course, for animating the whole stuff while my PC just burning on. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and our amazing volunteers, of course, too. Don't want to forget you. So thanks for mentioning Aurélie, and thanks for doing the really hard work of streaming all of this. So
thank you.
Hopefully we can, repeat this in the future. If you're interested in more information about this, more roundtables like this, let us know. We're always ears, and we're very excited to keep the conversation going. So thank you so much. I'm sure
there are a lot of stuff we would like to talk about in the future.
Yes.
It was too short. It was too short.
There's always new stuff too. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.